Assisted living started out as a temporary situation for Joan. Her original plan was to rent an independent apartment, but at that time, there was a waiting list and nothing was available. Joan put her house on the market and it sold immediately. With her house sold, Joan needed a new plan, so she moved into an assisted living suite for a short time until an apartment became available. After living in her temporary assisted living suite for 2 months, she decided to stay permanently. Approximately 3 years later, she is fully involved in the community. Joan is a retired teacher, and kids have a special place in her heart. Joan participates in the Botsford Buddies reading program, a successful program between residents and Botsford elementary students. Joan interacts with students during their monthly visits, reading out loud one-on-one to each other. Joan also spent time with her fellow residents by listening to their stories about growing up and sharing stories of the good old days. Joan is aware that interaction with others, whether in a group or one-on-one situation, is important. She believes people shouldn't be in isolation. She will often knock on the doors just to make sure her fellow residents are doing well, if she hasn't seen them in a while. Joan keeps an eye on residents who may have a mental or physical changes happening out of care, making sure staff knows what she sees as a concern. Joan has a pure relationship with fellow residents that staff simply can't have. The staff is thankful for Joan and her keen eye for changes in her friends. Joan encourages staff and families to take care of themselves. If they want to help others, she has a wonderful caregiver mentality that many strive for. She encourages her fellow residents by inviting them to events, following up with them, and telling them about a great activity they may have missed so they can choose to join next time. Joan is a volunteer ambassador for a new grant. The grant will support the relationship between the Botsford Buddies program and future intergenerational programming. The staff wrote, "Joan is an exceptional person who makes for an exceptional resident. Joan understands that there are good days and bad days, and she is patient with herself and others, and she's a blessing and a privilege to know." Congratulations.
Hi, everyone. I don't recognize that person she was talking about. I really want to say thank you so very much for this award. I am deeply honored to receive it. And I would like to share it with all of the wonderful staff at Beaumont Commons with whom we interact daily. Diane, Suzanne, and Cheryl. They are all such helpful and available. They respect each and every one of us and encourage us to be ourselves and to feel at home at Beaumont Commons and to make it easy for us to do things. I particularly enjoy going over to Botsford School to read with the second graders, and last year we were awarded a grant to do a special intergenerational project with them, which was so successful that we're going to do it again this year. And I also want to commend this wonderful organization, the Michigan Center for Assisted Living, for providing the opportunity for all of us to celebrate growing old together. Thank you.